everybody. Welcome. I see a lot of my channel members, my moderators hanging out. We'll pull up some of the chats here in a minute, but I want to give some context to the show. So I was sitting around today thinking of, what can I do here? What can I do for a show? And I just started kind of doing some research around on the interwebs. And I noticed a little while ago, Kerri Rawson was being, if anybody's not familiar with Kerri Rawson is the daughter of uh, Dennis Rader, the BTK killer. And a lot of her name was being brought up, and her father's name in relation to the Bryan Kohberger case. And I said, wow, this is really interesting. And I started reading some articles and did a little bit of a deeper dive, and saw that she did some, media, some mainstream media, and some smaller content media as well too, and did some interviews. And so I just sat there and I literally went, yeah, maybe I'll shoot her an email and see if she'd come on the show sometime. So I shot her an email, and this was her response. So let me just widen this up a little bit. Unfortunately, she's not going to be on the show. Maybe down the line, I could probably try to get her in here. But I wrote her and I just, hey, Kerri, hope this email finds you. My name is Bryan. I'm the host of the Opinionated Idiot YouTube channel. Probably not a very professional name, but anyway, I went on with my context, and I just said, hey, the channel covers true crime and political subjects. I'm reaching out to you because I've been following Bryan Kohberger case and recently came across your interview on the Interview Room, where you talked about the comparison between your father. I'm just going to do this between your father and some of the similarities in the relationship to Bryan Kohberger. I'd like to invite you to join me for a 1 to 2 hour stream where we can discuss the theories and similarities of the Kohberger case. I believe your perspective would add tremendous value to our conversation, and I'd be excited to have the opportunity to share your thoughts and insights and opinions with my audience. We'll be using StreamYard. You can send you the link to join ahead of time. And if you have any questions on the topic, I have a few questions on the topic I'd like to send you. Like any live events, we'll have the chance to engage our viewers in real time and answer the questions they may have if they choose. If you're interested in joining me for the live stream, please let me know and we'll finalize the details. I'm confident that our conversation will be both enjoyable and informative for the viewers. Please be confident that I treat every guest and topics with respect. I'm honored about your possibility of having you as a guest. Thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward to hearing from you. Bryan, best regards, Bryan. I just left the link to the channel. I didn't think I was going to get a response. A little while after, she wrote me back and just said, and her email address is public, just so people know. It's on her website. So I'm not doxing her or anything. And she just said, thanks, I appreciate the offer, but I'm currently stepping back from media to finish my second book. So I need to decline at this time. So she said she declines at this time. Doesn't necessarily mean that the window is closed. And maybe in a couple of months when her book is ready or after her book is finished, I'll engage her again and see if I can get her on the show. But I thought what I would do this evening is, there's a fantastic interview, and don't worry, guys, I'm going to get to the chat here in a second. I see you guys all chatting. We'll pull some of them up in a minute. I saw a fantastic interview on the interview room. It's retired homicide detective Chris McDonough did an interview with Kerri about a month ago, and they talked about the relationship and the similarities between Bryan Kohberger and Dennis Rader, her father. And as we know, BK studied at DeSales University under the tutelage of the BTK expert Catherine Ramslin. She had an academic relationship with BTK and a friendship as well too. And we know that Bryan studied under her at DeSales. So Kerri's so I was reading some articles, and it said, once the news broke, and the Idaho case broke, that Kerri kind of took to Twitter and said that she was just completely sick to her stomach after she found out kind of that connection and relationship. Kohberger studying under Ramslin and just knowing that connection that possibly he could have written her father. And she said a lot of criminology students do that. They do write and talk to him. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to pull up that interview and we'll go through it. It's kind of a watch party, so it's going to be another relaxed stream. We'll just kind of sit back, and I have an incredible show planned tomorrow. But tonight's just kind of a Saturday hangout. I know that people will come and go throughout the stream. Feel free if you have to leave, it's fine. But we'll play this interview, and I found it very engaging. Kind of scrubbed through it today, and it's really, really, really good. So you're not going to want to miss that. Let me just go back to the beginning here. I saw tons of people in the chat. Crazy P is in the chat. Hello, how are you this evening? And O'Brien is here. Greetings from Florida. We have Cranky back here. That's another channel member. And he's Crazy P already hitting it with the chat. Says make sure to hit and subscribe and turn those notifications on. Yes, Dr. Bob is in the house. Dr. Bob, I hope you are feeling better this evening. MRG, I'll get this right sometimes. My brain always wants to go to MGR, but MRG in the chat. Hello, how are you? Danielle is here. Thank you so much for joining this evening. Teresa is in the house as well. Saturday night music here. Yes. And we have someone watching from New York. That's awesome. Chris Pepper says, good evening. Smash that like button. Chris and I were corresponding through email earlier. We had some great conversation in there. North Carolina. Oh, great. I love North Carolina. I was down in Charlotte a few years ago, and I'll tell you, in a couple of years, that's definitely going to be my retirement spot, or be down there. Chris P saying, be happy. Danielle's in the house. What else we got? We have Chosen Rosen's in the house. What's up, buddy? How are you? Glad you could join me on this Saturday night. So again, we're going to pull up the interview here. Very laid back stream this evening. We're just going to sit back, enjoy this interview. Feel free to chat. We can stop, pause, talk. Phone lines are open. Let me get my crawler going here on the end of the screen on the screen here. Phone lines are open, 774-855-9400. If you want to call, chat, talk about Kohberger, talk to me, whatever you want to do, the phone line is always open for all of you. So if you want to comment on the show, feel free. But we'll get this fired up in a minute. Let me just check something here really quick, and then we'll get this fired up and going. Probably about a 2-hour show this evening. I know that people come and go, and that's completely fine. So let's get this going. We're going to pull this up. And big shout out to the interview, Chris McDonough on the interview room. If you guys haven't, go over and sub on his channel. He does great live streams and commentary. All right, here we go, guys.
And of course, our special guest tonight, Kerri Rawson.
Should I go big or
of
small?
Dennis
Big?
Rader,
You want me here?
the serial
You guys
killer
want me here?
BTK. Guys and
What do you guys
gals,
want
if you
me?
want to see their
Number one or number two?
profiles and their bios,
Number one
it's
or
going to
number
be
two?
below tonight.
What's better for you
Please
guys?
take a look. With that,
Type it in the
let's
chat. Number one or
welcome our
number two?
distinguished
Number
panel.
one view, number two view.
Guys and gals,
Doesn't matter to
welcome
me.
this
Whatever
evening.
makes it easier for you guys.
Thanks,
Chris. Great to be here with you.
Type it in the chat for me.
It's good to see each and every one of you.
One.
Boy,
All right, we'll stay here.
this is I get a chill when I talk when I think about, okay, we've got the A team. They're all in the same room, and
I'll let you know, this was done about a month ago. So
yeah,
new
where are we going
details
to go
obviously
here?
have happened.
I want to
since
get
then.
into this tonight, not only for the sake of our audience, but just to make sure that we cover a lot of things. So the tonight's show is about the anatomy of violence, and we couldn't think of anything better than to kind of correlate.
I wish I could just get this center screen a little bit bigger. I hope StreamYard fixes that.
Between
we can
Dennis Rader
expand that a little bit.
and, of course,
Kinda
Bryan,
customize
and I'm just going to call him Bryan tonight, okay, who's allegedly, charged for the death of Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan. All right, so let's talk about, first of all, tonight, let's break this into a couple of parts. But the first part I want to go at is I want to talk about their different personality types and the red flags within their personalities. And are there familiarities between the two of them? So that's the first question to the panel. What say you? And we'll start with Dr. Picotto, and then Ann and Greg, and anybody else that wants to jump in, feel free to jump.
So in general terms, I think what we're looking at when we see people who could commit these kinds of offenses is probably that they're somewhere in the personality disorder realm. And when we look at people who commit these offenses, we can see anything from the narcissistic to some degree of psychopathy, or what some people call sociopathy, straight through to sadism, which I like to place on a spectrum. And then about 50% of these highly.
It's a good question, Frank. Why do you think Bryan risked his education and future for this? I think a lot of these things is what we find out, that a lot of these particular behaviors start at a very, very young age. It's almost something that's imbrued in their brain, like this dysfunction. As we know about, like, Jeffrey Dahmer, how all of that, asphyxiation with death and dying and killing, and it starts, usually with animals and small animals, and we knew that about Dahmer, that he, I think, killed dogs and cats and kept their bones in boxes, and they just became very fixated with that. And then obviously after animals, it starts getting turned on to humans. But as far as risking his education and future, I don't think that he has any particular control. And again, I'm speculating. I'm not an expert on this. These are just types of things that I learned through reading and watching, particular crime type programs. But if I was to speculate about it and give my opinion, I think this is just something that's inside. It's just a behavior, that's something that's wrong inside the brain, something that's psychologically not firing correctly. But what I get from this guy, as I'm starting to kind of see more about and understand more about him, I think that he's relishing in this right now. He loves the limelight on him. He's going to love every aspect of, if this goes to trial, walking in front of those cameras, getting inside that courtroom, all eyes on him. I think that he's been wanting this for a very, very long time. Almost kind of that me against the world type of thing. Struggled with drug addiction, was picked on, rejected by women. We're finding out all these particular details about him. Didn't have really great social interactions, with people and friends. So I think he's been waiting for this. I think he loves this attention. You got to think, all these women are writing him in prison now. All these people are talking about him. It's just super narcissistic personality disorder, super narcissistic tendencies. And that's kind of where I think on this. And just wanting to, I guess, maybe be someone, and now all eyes are on him. So that, if you're asking me, that would be my opinion. So born with, not made by society. No, I think born with, but certain particular things can obviously trigger people into maybe those behaviors. But I think deep rootedly, this is a lot of just psychological things that you're born with. Your brain is not functioning correctly. There's something wrong, whether you can help it or not. That's kind of how I look at it. Like people that are just born with depression, people that are just born with suicidal tendencies. I think it's something that's deep rooted in your brain that you're born with, and may come out after time, or may be triggered by something and come out, after time. So it's very interesting to look into the brains of these people that commit these particular crimes. And I'm just going to be very interested once all of the case evidence comes out in this case, where we can sit back, and I like peeling back the layers like an onion and kind of looking and exposing all of those things, and being able to kind of look at all the evidence that we've had so far and say, okay, well, maybe this is why it got triggered, or maybe this is why things happened here. This is maybe the cause of those deep psychological issues. So it's going to be really interesting. I'm very, very curious. Very curious. Lee's in the house. How are you, Lee? Thanks for joining this evening. But we'll play on here, guys. Just if you have any questions, pop them up there in the chat.
Sadistic and psychopathic people
Very, very laid back stream this evening. Just kind of a Saturday night hangout.
will also have schizoid personality traits, meaning that they're odd, detached, mechanical people who can experience a total intellectual distance from their offenses.
And if you guys are wondering, like, why have you been streaming like on your off nights? I've been on a staycation this week. So my goal was to try to stream every single day or night that I could, just to get some more material out on my channel. But certainly starting next week, actually starting tomorrow, I'm going to go back on my regular schedule, Sunday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And would seem to other people to be rather peculiar. Embedded within those personalities, you also have what are called paraphilias, which are kind of abnormal, aberrant, perverse sexual pleasures that people experience towards living things, which distinguishes them from fetish, which requires an object or an action. So that with a paraphilia, what you're looking at is somebody who is perversely attracted to a certain group, like, for example, children or adults.
See, and they're kind of going back to Cranky's question. They're kind of going through all those psychological disorders now. So this is actually really interesting. And it was a great question that you brought up actually just before this. So
adolescents that are underage or who needs to engage in an action involving people, like calling them up and saying perverse words and hanging up quickly, or peeping or stealing their underwear, tickling in a violent way, needing to tie someone up, needing someone to pretend to be a corpse or actually be dead. And we see a wide array of those within these individuals. Most of the serial offenders we see are going to fall into one of these buckets that we just described. And we can certainly say that with confidence about BTK. It's been well established that Dennis Rader is somebody that would be considered psychopathic, narcissistic, sexually sadistic. Kerri can certainly speak about that. That's been well established by numerous people. We can only speculate about that with regard to Bryan, but I think one could read into some of the things of which he's accused and begin to paint the picture of somebody who may have traits like that, but we simply don't know yet. And finally, what I'll say is that the personality can additionally have features of other conditions, like some offenders, including Dennis Rader, and I think it's been said probably Bryan, can have a very obsessional quality, paranoid quality, overly meticulous, kind of controlling, which kind of goes also with the narcissism. And people like that can additionally authentically have mental illness that can feed the condition. A lot of them will authentically be depressed, or authentically be anxious, or authentically be sometimes even psychotic, although that's quite unusual. So I think you can really see the gamut, but most are going to fall into that personality disordered and paraphilic kind of camp.
Okay, Dr. Burgess?
Yes, I would certainly echo everything that Dr. Mercado has said. I think a couple of other things that have been suggested
I'm
about
working on an upgrade for my channel right now. I have someone
is he, or the question has been asked, could he be what's called an incel?
So I'm really excited about that.
This is becoming more and more
I'm
popular
for the
in
service
the
right now, so we can start the work.
And these are people that very much
so I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm getting some business taken
Dr.
care of.
Mercado has said, but they have a misogynist approach. They, for some reason, have great anger towards women. They feel they've been used by women, or they are not appreciated by women, kind of thing. So there is that, and they develop a lot of hate and focus that, it kind of becomes a
Oh boy.
paranoid
Those are
piece,
all
I think,
questions.
is what happens there. So I think that's interesting to think about. It's just something that has been asked. Some of the other matters, I'm going to let Kerri talk about her father, because she certainly has a very, I think, a very solid approach to it. These are people, both of them, who have been able to fool many people. They have this second life, or opposite life, two sides of them, however you want to look at it, where they appear one way. I remember interviewing one person that said he even had three ways that he dealt with the world, not only with his family, but with his work and then with the community. So in this case, certainly Bryan being a student, which is going to be very interesting because he had to interact with both college students as well as family. And the other, I think, that has come out in the weeks, has his approach to try to become a research assistant, I think, at the Washington State University. That's very, very interesting, and was turned down. Obviously was turned down. So we can talk a little bit about that and what that means. So those are just some of the ideas that I have just looking at these two. How many had differences? How many had similarities? We could look at that. Certainly, the BTK, Dennis Rader was much older than Bryan, at least now, but not when he started. If I understand, they were
All right,
both
guys, I'm done.
about
I'm sorry about
28
that.
when
That was
they
rude.
committed their first crime.
Just had to get this business taken
The
care
other,
of.
I think, one thing
Kristen's in
is
the
what
chat.
people have been looking at is, have they committed crimes
Bryan is
before?
here.
That's always the question
Hello.
comes up. And would they commit crimes
Just pause this.
afterwards?
I got a
Well,
couple questions here. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Kristen says, I like how you used to put your face really close to the camera in your intro. I don't like the long intros. Yeah, you know what? I kind of took that intro away because I got some crap about it because I was kind of like smiling and laughing, and I just kind of felt like it was inappropriate to what I'm doing. So I'm working with a gentleman right now that's actually doing because I have a live stream intro. You guys know that. I'm revamping that whole thing there. I have a gentleman that's working on it right now. Hopefully that'll be done by next week. So you're gonna get a minute long intro before I go live. The reason I'm doing that is it gives you a little bit of time. So if you are not here to watch the stream right away, it gives you some time to come in. It will get you a notification, come in, and it's just like a proper intro to a live stream. I like a countdown and a build up to get the stream going, like a radio show or a program, like when you watch a sitcom or something like that. I want this to be a professional, show. I want to turn this into a live stream podcast sometime where I can eventually, hopefully the channel grows big enough. I get it out of my bedroom and I get my own studio someday. That's my dream. So I can actually bring in live guests and have them sit with me instead of doing, stuff through StreamYard. But anyway, I digress on that. So I'm working with someone, revamping my long intro right now. I want to see what kind of work they do on that, and maybe I'll do something with them where they can do some small stings for the intro and outros of my videos. But yeah, I kind of took away the kind of goofy, laughy. I know it's fun, it's playful, but it just didn't really sit well with a bunch of people. They were commenting, they're like, it's kind of crappy that you're kind of smiling, and I just felt it was kind of inappropriate for the channel. But I digress on that. But thank you for bringing that up. O'Brien says, Bryan, who are the other people in the video with BTK? So they're just more they're doctors and psychological experts that have written books on true crime, have been in the industry probably for years, psychologists, psychiatrists, stuff like that, medical doctors. So they're just kind of getting some perspective in all those respected fields. Chat, do you think his family knew he had issues? Well, most certainly. I mean, they know that he struggled with a drug addiction. I think that they knew that he had some type of mental illness as well too. There's been some chat and conversations out there on the internet about that as well. So I do feel that there's some kind of standing mental illness going on, in my opinion. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm all caught up. O'Brien says, I think the music in Countdown is wicked. Thank you. I'm still going to use the Countdown song that I have, but the intro is going to be completely different. From what I've seen, what this guy can do, it looks pretty good and pretty slick. So I'm excited to see what I told him what I wanted and see how his vision kind of turns out. And hopefully it lines up with my vision. So Dr. Bob says the caution here is that because we don't know all the facts yet, it's hard to diagnose BK effectively at this point. 100%, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think BTK did drugs. He might have been a drinker. No, I was talking about Kohberger. We know that he struggled with heroin. It's been documented and put out there. So, but anyway, let's keep playing through the video because we got a long
We know
show.
that Dennis Rader did before he was finally caught.
Yes.
And I think there's been pretty much consensus that Bryan, if left, if he wasn't arrested, would have.
Yes, this is
also.
true.
Interesting. So we'll go to Greg and then Kerri and Dean. If you want to jump in after that, feel free on this first question. So Greg, what do you think?
I don't know really how much I can add to that. I can give you
Phone lines are open,
different
774-855-9400. If you want to call, say hi,
from
tell me you're a fan of the
behavioral
show.
perspective,
If you want to
an
comment on
investigative
BK or
behavior
BTK,
perspective.
please do. Phone lines
I
are
think
open.
one of the commonalities that we see across the board,
Hey,
and I think it
Supernatural, how are
manifests
you?
in
Thanks
both
for
of these
joining the
characters,
stream.
is
Good to see you here.
an inherently
I
low
love
self-esteem.
my members and my moderators.
They
They're
may
so helpful in the
have
chat.
a desire, of course, rather they may engage in those activities that look just the opposite. For example, you've got Bryan that's getting his PhD in criminology.
If anybody sees SC coming in the chat, let me know because I have to add her back as a moderator. I took her out she was in the wrong moderating status the other night, so I took her out. I just got to add her back on.
As referenced Dennis Rader, you've got numerous different types of job scenarios where he acquired a position of authority, as an example, or a leadership role in some capacity. But I think you find this inadequate personality type and a fixated need, even an obsession.
Underwear video. What's that? Tell me what the underwear video is. Near the house. I haven't heard that one. Yeah, sure. If you want to call, like I said, phone lines open 774-855-9400.
Of trying to satisfy a otherwise very
What's the
low
underwear
self-esteem
video? I
and-
never
and
heard of
trying
that.
to compensate, overcompensate.
Who is it one of these
in a very
from one of these conspiracy channels or is it proven factual news? That's but yeah, if you want to call, like I said, phone lines are open. I'm going to turn my speaker on here. Hopefully it works. We should be in sync. Feel free to call anybody.
ultimately a very
Phone
violent
lines are
way.
here.
And typically with those victims
Hey, I got 50 people
who,
watching and only
for themselves,
24 uploads. You need
do not
to
pose much of a
smash
threat, if
the like
much at
button,
all, or
guys.
any at all.
Smash.
So they ensure their own success.
Come on, man. Come
types
on,
of
man.
victims,
Come
certain
on, man.
times,
Come on, man.
and situations and circumstances where they would commit their assault. I think
It's
that
on the crawl. If you see it below me.
as it relates to women,
855
partially,
9400.
I think
Heather is dropping by to
so-
say hello. Hello.
Did we lose Greg for a
that they
second?
would have excessive
I haven't heard
ability
this
to
one.
have
You're gonna
power,
need to call.
domination,
Let
and
me
control.
know.
Am I on?
Yeah, you're back. Go ahead. Keep going.
Whoops.
Yep.
We're okay. Sorry. That I think there's an excessive amount of need to have power and domination and control over women, particularly. And why is that? Well, I think if you go into the backgrounds of these individuals, you'll find that an inadequate personality and an inability to socialize well and be accepted with with women generally, but more particularly those women who they may prefer to be in their lives. And then engage in not just violence, but sexual violence, and to have the ultimate power. Number one, the sexual assault. The only thing that exceeds the power of sexual assault would be to decide whether or not they're going to allow the victim to live or die. And when you merge those two together, it's the ultimate ability and experience, as we understand it from talking with these folks, of satisfying the crescendo, if you will, of power and control over another human being.
Okay.
So those are some of the thoughts.
Kerri, what do you think?
Opinionated idiot. Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, this is Leah.
Hey.
I'm calling since you're showing this video about mental health and all.
Yeah.
I'm calling about police cam that plunged her YouTube channel showed, and it was in March of 2022. There, and this girl, and it's on police cam. It's all videoed.
Mm-hmm.
Brett was one of the cops that were there.
Right.
Paying. And she got home one night at like 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
She went in, got her stuff. Everything seemed fine with her car. The next morning, she came out, and stuff in her car was put in a suitcase. Her suitcase was found on the side of the road. Her underwear from her suitcase was put in the cup holder in her car. There was a footprint in the driver's seat, and the police tried to get a picture of it and size it and all. And they kept asking her if it was a prank, and she said no, she don't know who would be playing a prank on her.
Right.
So they didn't steal anything. They just basically messed with her stuff and moved it around her in her car, and then did that with her underwear, and it really freaked her out. And I just wanted to put that out there, that somebody like that was, and this girl lives right by the 1122 King House.
Really? You said there's video of this.
Yes, that's what I was talking about.
Can you
see the video? You can see that. Yeah, I'll email it.
All right, email it to me. Email it to me. We'll pull it up on the show and we'll look at it. Yeah, that's great. I haven't even seen that.
Let me. Okay, the one. Yeah, I just saw one today that had a better view.
Sure.
Of the police cams.
Okay.
But let me give you Plunders. I'm gonna send you Plunders video.
Yeah, send.
Let me go to her channel.
Great.
And I'll email it to you.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for calling. Bye-bye. All right. We got a little material of a video that I have not seen yet, so we'll check that out. But until then, we'll just keep playing through. Lee, email that to me. Don't let me see. Let's see if she sent it. But we'll wait for that. We'll keep playing through until that comes up. I'll keep my my email open, and we'll pull that video up.
Oh, several things here. So with my dad, he's reported specifically in Dr. Ramsland's book when he worked on that one. So my dad's self-reporting here. So remember, we have to remember we're
only 28 likes. There's
narcissist
50
and
people in here
pathological
right
liar.
now, guys. You got to go down and smash.
My dad is a sexual sadistic
like
psychopath, like Gary said. When he was young, he has self-reported that he was window peeping by like 7 or 8, wanting women's lingerie, underwear when he was young.
Danielle, we're gonna get into that tomorrow on tomorrow night's show. I got an action-packed show tomorrow with all of that information in it.
Interested in bondage when he was young. He said he got exposed to some of those old detective magazines from the 1950s that like had actual crime scene photos. There was a killer in California that was luring women with photography and then taking their photos. And all of this was like in these magazines. These
Wow,
magazines
really? Back
then. So he said he was exposed to this when he was young. So he said he became interested kind of in bondage. I know that he was torturing animals, strangling and practicing on them.
So this is Kerri Rawson. She's speaking about her father, BTK, right now. And as you can see, like we talked about in the beginning of the show, a lot of these tendencies started when he was very young.
Before he strangled people in 74. Breaking and entering, he said by the time he was like 12 into his old school.
We'll get to it,
There's
Danielle.
actually an issue there in school when he was in kindergarten. I think my dad was supposed to be left-handed. I'm left-handed, but you're talking about 1950. And he said that they wouldn't let him be left-handed and they held his hand behind his back. Now, if this is true, is this sort of where some of the bondage stuff came from? I don't know. I don't think it's enough, but it could be some sort of thing he associates definitely with that. And also forcing somebody to use the wrong hand, it screws up your brain. And so my dad is very well known for not being very literate. His handwriting's messy. He can't spell. I can't spell either. So, but I do believe my dad was supposed to be left-handed. And mentioned age. My dad was 28 at the same time when he started his first kills in 74 with the Oteros. Kohberger just turned 28 right after. Definitely OCD tendencies we saw in my house, like wanting to be in control, always wanting to be the most powerful in charge in the room, especially inside. He would relax outside. Something Anne said was about somebody showing different sides. She mentioned somebody that would show 2 or 3 sides. We talked about cubing on here. Dad showed multiple sides. I mean, he had his side with his family. He had his side with his bigger family. He had his work side, community side, church side. Even like when he would talk to like law enforcement or building game people, scouts, it was like he was a different person in each of these scenarios, just a little bit, like he would just change a little bit. So it would be interesting to ask him how many different people do you think he was? But Dad calls it cubing, a term he came up with Dr. Ramsland, where he's just flipping who he's showing you. One of the ways he did blend in, but I don't know if it was intentional. I just think he did it. And Dr. Ramsland mentioned the crime lab, the research assistance thing. We can get to
Thanks,
that
guys.
here.
I appreciate your efforts in the chat room.
Okay, Dean, what do you think? Start us up with your thoughts here as well.
I think the one thing that just kind of sticks out to me as I'm listening to all this is that we're looking at 2 individuals and we're looking at them at the same age for their first crime. The one thing that fascinates me about it is with BTK, we were able to see over a long period of time that development. I mean, I think when you were born, Kerri, he'd already committed, quite a few murders. And it was one of the things that struck me when I read your book was just that, I think a lot of times people say, well, why didn't people catch it or see it? But I think for you, especially, and your brother, you guys were born into it. It was already happening, and it was the environment that you were born into. But I also was kind of, I guess, not surprised, but it was really interesting to me when you describe how your family was taught.
Yeah, we had a caller earlier. Yeah, I get it, Lee. It's a long video. 2 months ago. All right, we'll pull up a little bit of this and see what Plunder has to say. She's killing it over there on her channel, but let's pull that up. But before I pull it up, let's do this. Give me 6 more upvotes and I'll pull up the Plunder video. We can walk through that. Okay. So I just need 6 more upvotes before I pull up that Plunder video. So we need 6. So 6 people in here just need to hit that upvote button. Only 6, and then we'll pull up this Plunder video. Come on, guys. We got to get it to 40. We just got to get it to 40 likes. That's it. 40 likes. That's it. We got 36. Come on. We only need 3. Come on, 4 more, guys. Please. 4. 4 more, and we'll get that video pulled up. I promise. And then 37. Come on, we're almost there. 3 more. People can be listening while cleaning. Yeah. Beepsy BB says she's got hers in. Thank you so much. We're so close. We're at 38. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Come on, 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 come on. We can do it. We can do it. 39. We're almost there. We're almost there. One more, one more, one more.
Come on, man.
We got it. We got it. We got it. We're gonna pull this. We're gonna pull this. We're gonna pull this up. One more upvote. There's 56 people. Just go down and smash the like button. One. Just be one person. Lisa, she's listening while driving. We're almost at 40. Already spent my upvote. Yes, we got it. We got it, baby. We got it. We got it. We got it. We got it.
I got you, homie.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's go on with the show. All right. Let's check out Plunder. Oh.
Received and watched. It is from the
Shout out to
Moscow
Plunder, by
Police
the way.
Department in Idaho. And this footage is a little disturbing based on what it reveals about a would-be criminal. In this body cam footage, we're going to see a neighbor of the 1122 King Road.
I have not seen this video. So Lee, thank you so much for getting that over to me. I have not seen this. The thing is, there's so many videos. There's so many videos on Idaho right now. You know, there's so many videos. So there's things that I may not see, I may pass by, but we'll play this out. That's a good pickup.
House, the infamous house where the horrible slayings of 4 University of Idaho students happened on November 13th,
Shout out to Plunder, by the way.
2022. So I'm filming this Thursday, December 22nd, and what I've seen, I've taken notes on, and I'm about to play for you the entire body cam footage, and you'll see what you think. I requested from Moscow Police a lot of body cam footage related to the 1100 block of King Road, because sometimes that's the way incidents appear in the police log related to 1122 King Road. Well, today they sent me 3 videos. I have more to come of other incidents, but
I'm going to tell you right now, I like her style already. She's clear. She's concisive. It doesn't sound like conspiracy theory stuff. I like her style.
today I wanted to go over
Could be wrong, though.
for this with you. One you will see playing nearby is just the dash cam footage of the officer on March 2nd, 2022. There's not much conversation caught in that video, so I will let it play as I talk. But I'm going to play uninterrupted the next 2 videos, the officer's body cam videos. I was attempting to see what calls happen at 1122 King Road, but this incident that happened in March of 2022, right nearby the 1122 King Road house, and I won't give this person's exact address. I'm not going to give her name or anything like that, but I'm wondering, could it be related to what would happen just 8 months later? I don't know exactly what day the victims moved into 1122 King Road. Zaina, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee. I do remember seeing Kaylee in a TikTok video exactly 1 year prior to the slayings. So that would have been November 13th, 2021. And it's a funny video where some guy is going behind others and making like a weird faces and stuff. And you can see Kaylee in that video, and it looks like she's in the infamous house. I believe Kaylee lived there previously, perhaps with Maddie too. I'm not sure with Zaina. I know that the newer surviving roommates, I believe, moved in a little bit more recently, perhaps the summer of 2022. Now that we know the details of this crime that happened only 8 months prior to the murders, showing that 1122 King Road house in the background, the cops reveal what they say about an uptick in people.
So we detoured a little bit off the video that I was going to show this evening, but it's okay. I have not seen this one yet. So I appreciate Lee for calling and sharing that. I hope this is okay with you guys. I'm cool with it. We're just chilling this Saturday night. So it's a very casual, laid back Saturday. I appreciate all of you so far that has hung out, come into the chat. We got 57 people watching. Let's just get to 50. Just a nice round 50. Just a nice round 50. You guys can upvote for me. I would appreciate it.
stealing cars and prowling through cars. And what this victim says in the body cam footage, it kind of paints a portrait of perhaps a local madman. Let me know what you think. And again, I don't know if it's related at all. I don't want to be one of those sleuths that's trying to conflate this with that. It just gives us more information about what occurred prior to leading up to this horrible, horrible crime in November. The call was for an unlawful entry. An unknown person entered this sorority girl's vehicle. It was sometime between, she wasn't sure, about 9 p.m. on March 1st. That was the last time she checked her vehicle that night. Sometime between 9 p.m. March 1st and 9:30 a.m. March 2nd. So what you're going to see are cops responding to that call. The girl had just driven home to King Road near the infamous house from Boise. She had arrived on March 1st at that house. She had arrived about 5 p.m. And so she went out later about 9 p.m. to get her TV out of her car. She had some pillows in there too. Everything was fine by 9 p.m. She is going to tell the officer, as you'll hear, she heard some weird voices coming from the direction of the 112.
And the first communication that he had in the area of 1122 King Road was on the 22nd of August. That's when his phone first pinged off one of the cell towers around 1122 King Road, which would be within a few miles of that residence.
To King House, it creeped her out. And that's not the only thing that creeped her out. The officer said, yeah, it's kind of a bowl. We heard that like a fish bowl, and the way the noises perhaps echo. We heard that same sentiment during the September 1st, 2022 noise complaint body cam footage. I received that body cam footage as well, and I plan to put that in an upcoming video. But for now, let's watch this video where the girl is going to point in the direction of the 1122 King Road.
So I lost the date on this. When did this supposedly happen? Did she say March? If this is March of 22, this would have no relevance to Kohberger. Maybe you guys can help me out because he wasn't even out there. He was out there in August. On August 1st is when he moved.
House. Talk about how the voices that night freaked her out. She went back in her house. The next morning she came out and someone had rummaged through her car. Not only that, they had taken different items from her car, put them inside of her suitcase.
This would have zero relevance to Kohberger. He wasn't even out there. He wasn't even out there. He was there on August 1st.
Case, zipped it up, and put the suitcase somewhere on the road. Her roommate found her suitcase. The odd part about it is this person, I'm assuming it's a man, what he did was not only take like different tickets or whatever she had.
I'm already going to tell you, I'm not going to go into the two-person theory because I don't think it's two people. I think they have the right person in custody. I can't get with the whole two people. If you think it's two people, they would have had them arrested right now. Oh, and by the way, everybody with this Enan Harsh guy, if you thought Enan Harsh was involved, he was over on Truth and Transparency just the other day, goofing and joking around with her over there. So if he was involved, he would have been arrested and behind bars. So that whole conspiracy, stop with that stuff. All those people that say, oh, he's involved, he's this and that. No, he's not. He would have been arrested by now and in jail.
Had random things, put them in her suitcase, zip it up, leave it outside in the road somewhere. He was probably planning to steal her car because her fuse box, something.
Yeah, it's just long and winded, very long and winded. Holy smokes. Let's go to the body cam footage. Oh, I'm going to kill the music though. Because I'm probably going to get booted for that. Yeah, he's 100% not involved. He was just over in Truth and Transparency the other day, chatting it up with her and goofing around and talking about food and all this other stuff. So I got a $5.50 Canadian super chat from, are you going to send, hang on a second. Mikey S is asking, going to send you an email, bro. A lot of things from early on that are coming full circle lately, even before the arrest that might surprise you. Cool, man. Send them over. Let's take a look at it. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. I got to get to my soundboard. And
I got you, homie.
I got you, homie. Thank you so much. and we'll continue here. I don't know. Oh, this music. I'm probably gonna get banged for this music. So this body cam footage has 0 audio. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like I stay away from the twisting and yeah, let's do this. Let me get a little music going. I'll play some low music in the background because there's no music on this. Let's play that low music. I don't know if I can watch this. Where should I skip through? Where is this, Lee? Where should I be in this video? Because this is going to be long. This is and there's no conversation. There's no audio. Yeah, I know he's not involved. I mean, it's like, stop tackling your boobs. Oh yeah, the girl. Where should I be on this, Lee? Do you know where about it is? When he gets there? Okay, let's see. All right, I got audio. Hang on, let me kill the music. I'll go back. I need a producer. Let me kill this music. Oh boy, I'm flobbing tonight, guys. I'm usually pretty good. All right, let me go back a little bit here. Let's see. We got audio.
Okay.
Here we go. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Heather. Got it, Leah. Thank you. Get to 50 likes, guys. I need 6 more. There's 6.
Yeah, she's right here. Awesome. Thank you.
Hi there.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Okay, so this morning I just got
Good.
home from Boise yesterday.
Okay.
And this morning I walked upstairs and my suitcase was inside, but I remembered leaving it in my car.
Copy.
I was asked my roommate to just open the door. I was like, hey, did you bring my suitcase up? And she's like, yeah, it was in the middle of the road. And I was like, that's weird.
Oh, your suitcase was in the middle of the road?
Yeah, it was back over here, and I had it in the back of my car.
Oh,
so
interesting.
I was like, maybe I forgot and just left it out.
Right.
So then I take it inside, and I open it, and all the stuff that I had. Oh, I locked it. I should have been keys. But all the stuff I had up here, all my pay stubs, the stuff I had in the center console, my sunglasses I was literally wearing yesterday were all shoved inside my suitcase, and it was zipped back up. And
so everything that you had in your front seat was now in your suitcase? Yeah. Okay.
And then there's a shoe print over here, and then there's my fuse box under my steering wheel is opened. I'll go get my keys. I just left it
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to steal it. Why would you open the fuse box? Hot wire? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just look at maybe, listen. It could be someone that's just trying to steal shit, get money for drugs. I mean, I don't know. We'll keep watching through here, but I don't see anything right now. Kind of
because we've been having those vehicle thefts.
A prowler, yeah. I mean,
well, there's obviously no way
you got to think that school is literally a block. You can see the university right there. Just walk through the field. So there's so many people in and out of that area There's a lot of people that come in and out of that town. You have townies that kind of hang around. There's probably people in that area that have drug problems. They could be trying to get money for drugs or something like that. Maybe it's just, no, it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with any of them. It's neighbors that are actually down the street from King Road. So, all right.
Prints off this anyways.
Yeah, it could be a prank too. And that's what I think too. It was like a theft scared off type of thing.
Any cameras?
No, there's no cameras here.
You guys don't have a Ring doorbell camera or anything like that?
Listen, I understand that they didn't steal anything, but they could have potentially went to go steal anything, or they're just rumbling through crap. Maybe someone's screwing with her.
Oh, really?
That's smart.
I don't think any of our neighbors do either.
Yeah, I'm not seeing you.
But we have like a Facebook page, so I was gonna ask on there. But like over here, like they didn't take anything. Like I had this ring up there, and they didn't even take it.
This is what I think.
But, like that
I think
little
it's
fuse
prank.
box was opened, and then there was a.
Is there any damage inside of it?
No, not that I can tell. I don't really know, but I'm just.
Is that your shoe print?
No.
You have your phone on you?
Yeah.
I sat on it though, so hopefully I didn't like mess it up.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much we can do with it, but it could. We've been having kind of an uptick in vehicle prowls, and say we find the suspect, and they find say he's wearing something that matches that tread. It just kind of. Now, I mean, it'd be really hard to.
Is that a Vans type shoe print?
Unless the person admitted it and said, "Yep, I was there." I mean, which is highly unlikely. But so when did you get back from Boise? You said
I got back last night at like 5 p.m.
Okay, so 5 p.m. last night. And did you lock your car?
No.
Okay.
But I came back out here about 9 because my TV was in here and my like pillows. Except that I don't know. I like heard like someone like talking over there. It was really weird, and then I just grabbed it and went back.
You gotta think in that area. I mean, if you just look around, even all these houses, there's so many students that are in and around that area. They were talking about when all the mainstream media went out there. They said there's people that are walking around at all hours of the night. I mean, you even see that on a lot of the body cam footage that was released from that evening. I mean, all those kids walking across the field, they had the runners, they had people getting, pulled over. I mean, there's so many people in that area. So, I mean, this just could be someone just screwing with them. I don't see
because it's kind of a bowl right here. It's, I mean, people could be up in their backyards talking and.
It freaked me out.
So 9 o'clock is when you last saw.
Maybe there were
more condition.
Panties
and your TV wasn't stolen.
No, because I grabbed it and I brought it inside.
Okay.
The only thing in here was my suitcase.
Where was your suitcase originally at?
Right.
So it was in the back.
It was like right here, and like this stuff was already in here.
Okay.
And they didn't touch it, but it was like right here. And so someone took everything from up there,
Maybe they're
put it in the suitcase, and then left it outside.
Yeah, that's definitely odd. It's odd because your fuse box is open.
Yeah.
However, I'm not trying to like scare you or anything, but maybe they were trying to steal your car.
That's what we.
Yeah.
So we have had.
Leave me my stuff.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so. When your roommate came out here and found your suitcase in the road, was the hatch opened up?
I don't think so. I didn't ask her.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Or if the doors were open. I mean. Okay. And then, did they say what time that was?
Yeah. Hey, a few questions. When you grabbed my suitcase, did you see were any of the doors open, like the hatch or anything?
No, just the suitcase was sitting outside of it.
And what time was that?
I say around 9:30.
Okay.
Last night?
This morning.
This morning. Okay, so between 9 o'clock last night and 9:30 this morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
We understand that her privacy was invaded. Absolutely. But, I don't know. I don't see much here. I just think that there's just some creeps or some frat kids or someone running around. Probably took the opportunity. Maybe some of her housemates wanted to scare her a little bit. But, yeah, that's kind of what I see here. But we'll play the panties in the cup holder part.
Okay,
And then
thank you.
I want to get back to that other video.
Okay.
Is there any damage to your vehicle?
Not that I can tell.
What about the fuse box, the little lid for that?
I don't know what it's like normally. The only thing I kind of noticed was my hood thing, like if you look down here, it looks like it's like bent like the other way a little bit.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, they might have been.
But the fuse box like lids on the ground.
Did you look inside the hood to see if anything was tampered with?
I don't know what cars are supposed to look like. So
Okay, I mean, it's okay. Do you want us to look and check?
Yeah,
one more
You want to pop the hood there, Chris?
50 likes.
I just saw it and it was like
Yeah.
a lot of wires.
Nope, it sounds like to me someone who might have been trying to maybe take your car, but
And I started my car already and it started.
I'm gonna have to.
Nothing wrong with it?
Here.
No.
Did you drive it?
I agree.
No. But
Okay.
I put it in reverse first so I can make sure the brakes will work.
Right.
And they worked. And then it
You know how to open your hood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so I ain't no mechanic, but obviously engine, your batteries here,
Everything
2 batteries,
normal, I thought.
your alternators there. I don't see anything of notice.
That's good.
You said it seemed bent a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's like the hood. The thing that opens the hood.
Was there a little
Yeah, it's
lid on it before? Oh, it is there though. Okay.
I just left it there.
Did it was it damaged?
No.
Okay.
For the fuse box,
Yeah.
I put that back in.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So it clicked back in.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously the hood.
Could be a hybrid car.
I'll put this
Could
thing.
be a hybrid car.
Freaky though. I don't know why they shoved everything in my suitcase.
Can I get my case number? Honestly, I think you're right. I think if I took a wild guess, maybe they were trying to take your car and they were like,
We don't need these clothes.
Copy.
The stuff they put in my suitcase was so random.
There's no chance someone's playing a prank on you.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't see why anyone I know would ever do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I found my underwear like shoved right there.
In the cup holder.
Yeah, and I took it out. But it was in there, and I was like, that's really weird.
and you said nothing is missing of your knowledge?
Not that I can tell.
Okay.
Oh no, you're good. Like.
Oh,
This side either.
that's very nice of you, Cranky. Cranky's gonna gift a membership.
Take one. We'll probably take. I know it's not much, but we could take one.
We're gonna do this. Why don't we do this? Cranky, let's get to 55. If we get to 55 upvotes, Cranky's gonna gift a membership. 55 upvotes. And guys, when I hit 5,000 subscribers, I'm gonna do a giveaway on the channel on one of my lives. So let's get to 50. Listen, Cranky's going to give everybody give someone a membership. All we got to do is get 4 more upvotes and you're going to get a membership to the channel. So we just need 4 more upvotes and we'll get there. 4 more upvotes, guys.
More picture, maybe the footprint next to a ruler.
I took it next to
Smash the like button.
Okay, perfect. So this is my card.
Okay.
All right.
If
I'm gonna pull out of this, Lee, I appreciate it. I think it's, it's to me. I don't know. I think, my opinion. I don't think there's much there for me to make a determination in this case. I think that. If it had any type of relevance or anything, we probably would have heard about it already. But I appreciate you sending that over. Let's go back to Kerri Rawson. I never gave a prize at 5,000. I'm going to give away something at 5,000. I'll think of something good. Maybe I'll give away like a Fire HD tablet or something like that. You guys can watch me on the new tablet. Probably do that. Okay.
Talking to one another.
Let's keep playing through this.
When it first came out,
we need one more upvote, and then Cranky's
they were
gonna
saying it. He hadn't confessed
away
yet, and then those days
free
that
membership.
came following that, the amount of
The lucky
shock
person is going to get
that
free
everyone in the family had up and down. Not precluding. I know you talking there about
one more upvote.
Some interesting things. Say even your husband's.
If you're not even a channel member, Cranky said at 55 upvotes, he's going to gift a membership. There's 66 people in here, so I know that 15 of you haven't hit it, and someone hit the downvote button.
Feelings. I think it was on the first camping trip that you guys went on, and you talk about
55. We got there.
I think that was the last one he went on actually with you, just because of.
All right, 55. Crank it away. Crank it away, brother.
Great cash, homie.
All right, we'll wait. It's gonna gift a membership here in a second. All right, Cranky gift a membership.
Got you.
Welcome, new channel member Danielle. You are now a member of the group. Thank you so much. Have a great back. It's always a great thing, and really do appreciate that. Part of the fam, part of the army.
Can't remember what the word you used, but you said your dad's proclivities or something. He was just did some things a unique way.
Very kind of you.
But not to elevate it to the point. I think we have a tendency to look back hindsight at some of the things, and everybody's now looking back saying, oh, that or this. But, I guess my question is, some of the things, were they really that obvious, some activities? Or are we seeing them through that light because now
it's so great,
know.
very supportive,
and
very
I'm not sure. It seemed to me
that
like
watches this channel. I appreciate
at least
that.
in your father's account, all those years, there
great.
wasn't a ton of people. Looking back backwards, we can say, "Oh yeah, he was doing this and doing that," but was everybody seeing it? And I think
I got to get a laugh button.
The one thing to keep in mind is we're talking about two different killers here but the difference in age over the time. I mean, we're being able to compare a much longer period of your dad's life to, we don't know if this is the first one that Bryan did, but we're able to look at it in that. So that's just kind of my thought on it.
Yeah, interesting. Very, very great input. So I have another thought here on the attraction to these guys, right? And I know, Gary, you said there's actually a word for it, and somebody give us a little insight into and what in the world goes on with. And I know, Kerri, your dad gets love letters. There's other stuff that we can't talk about that's out there that we're aware of. But what goes on with this personality that says, you know what? I find it really, Bryan's really my kind of guy. Boom. Here's a letter. You know what I mean?
And we've heard that. I mean, he's getting love letters in prison as we speak right now.
Well, the phenomenon you're talking about is called hybristophilia, and it refers to sexual arousal by someone who is engaged in crime. What you see most commonly with these kind of offenders, of course, is that the attraction is to someone who's committed sexual assault. And
BTK's daughter is with this kind of greenish shirt on down here with the glasses. I don't know if you can see my pointer. Yeah, you can see it right here. My mouse. She's right there in the panel. I wish he would have had their names up. I think the names will drop again once the chat goes away.
Rape and also murder. And the idea is, it's a little complicated. There isn't a large sample of these people that we can get together and study.
Here we are.
But it is believed that they divvy up into two general buckets. One bucket would be people who are highly masochistic, who are attracted to people like this because of the fantasy of being injured by them. And being completely submissive to them. And we have seen crimes where,
I think we have a really
example,
great panel.
A willing victim will go on, let's say, Craigslist or something to find someone to kill them, torture them to death. There have been cases where someone will find someone to eat them, like in the case of the victim of Armin Meiwes, the cannibal in Germany, who found a man who wanted to be killed and eaten. And then the other bucket are individuals that are highly narcissistic, that are attracted to the association with the offender, are attracted to the power that they believe that the offender has. It's interesting when we think about the idea that, there is a relationship between psychopathy and testosterone. Incidentally, testosterone is believed to be implicated in a portion of people who are left-handed.
Yes.
And about 30% of left-handers have unusual aberrant wiring of the brain. That's thought to be because of excessive testosterone in the womb. And we know
Hello,
the
Kat.
relationship between left-handedness and criminality is high for that reason.
For joining the
If you go into
stream.
a prison, about 30%, some people estimate, of the prisoners are going to be lefty. But that is not to suggest that all lefties have that kind of style. That's just a small.
Are you doing open subject night? I can do that. I was gonna do down the road. I was thinking about turning maybe one of my nights that I stream to like a members only type of stream. So anybody that's subscribed to a member can access it. And maybe we can do just like a free flow chat in there, or you guys pick the subject and we can bring things up and talk about it. Maybe like a roundtable type of discussion. Or what I was even thinking too is doing something interactive where I can do a members only. You guys can join me actually on the live stream, and you don't have to turn your cameras on. If you want to, you can do that, and we can have like a panel of like people and just conversate. So that's something that I've thought about because I don't see anybody doing that right now. And I thought it would be really fun just to get a little bit more personal with the people that contribute money to this channel on a monthly basis. So if that sounds like something you guys would want to do, maybe we can do that, down the road. But these are just some of the ideas that I've been doing. Maybe once a month we do like a members only chat where anybody that signed up as a member will only have access to that stream. So it's just an idea that I've been throwing around.
Portion.
Just
And
get interactive
not
with the
uncommon
audience.
because of the
We love
ideas
you
that
here,
seem to be-
Kerri. You're good. You're good.
I'm doing this too. but I've been studying this stuff for too long, Chris, so I could go on about it. But
I don't want to say too many of my ideas because I don't want anybody stealing my ideas. But I trademarked that one. So if I end up doing that and someone else starts doing it, you can let me know. But I thought about doing kind of just a members only stream and, allowing some people to come on the panel and just chat with me personally. If that's something that you guys want to do, I'd be totally open to that. So
there is a relationship there. Now, the thing you want to think about is that testosterone is associated with things that we consider to be powerful. So that it's easy, for example, to become attracted to somebody high in testosterone and leadership qualities, but who is a psychopath. So that some of those people wind up in power or the leaders of a cult, or they become, the guy in the neighborhood that's bad, but you're drawn to him because it's sexy, that kind of thing. But it's the idea that we are kind of wired to view some of those traits as leaderly, because I think in prehistoric times, the guy that was willing to go out and butcher an animal with his bare hands, or was the guy who could kill a mastodon or something, was considered attractive. But it doesn't work when you're a predator in a highly civilized modern society. So I think it's interesting to think about that when you ask the question of why are we drawn to these kind of people. There's a very fine line between leadership ability and that kind of psychopathic figure. I would say, Kerri, what happened to your father, I think, was a desire to be a leaderly figure, but failing at it, and then sort of drawing his power from his uniform and mechanical things like that. And you see that, I think, also to a certain extent with Bryan, that compensation for not being a leader, even though that's the fantasy, right? But anyway, that's the gist of hybristophilia, and I've heard some stories that would really make your skin crawl. For example, if you want, look at the case of the Night Stalker,
Richard
who was
Ramirez.
married during the course of his time in prison, or you can look up what happened with Charles Manson, where a woman fell in love with him, and then it emerged that she just wanted a right to his property, so that when he died, she could put his body on display in a sideshow. Or etc. So there are many cases of that, but But Kerri, your father gets love letters from women who want to take his hand, or what?
I'm sorry, you cracked me up with the 30% being in jail left-handed after I just said I was left-handed, and then this is like serious stuff, and I'm over here trying to get control of myself because people are commenting that they're left-handed and they've never committed a crime. And I'm sorry,
Well, that's why I
completely
that's why I emphasize that the vast majority of left-handed people have no such proclivity, but there is an interesting relationship between people who are psychopaths and left-handedness. In fact, one of the markers for that
Guys, we're
is,
only
if you look at the
almost
fingers,
at 2,800
that
subscribers. I just need one
the ring
more
finger and the
subscriber
pointer
tonight.
finger are the same
Almost
size
there.
in people who have excessive testosterone, and that's very common in
Channel
individuals
is
who are prone to violence.
growing.
So that's
What is this? What? What is this?
A marker of it. It's a marker in the literature of
that
excessive
idea, Cranky.
testosterone is that the ring finger and the pointer finger are the same length. In the normal individual, the pointer finger is shorter than the ring finger.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, so I don't have it.
Of course not. Right. Right.
Everyone's looking at their hands now. We're going to
Yeah.
Look how many
But the
left-handed
point is
people
that not everyone who has these things has proclivity. In fact, the vast majority of
How many people right now, as Nick says, are looking at their fingers at home
Yeah,
going,
right.
"Wait a minute, what
Everybody.
the heck?"
Everybody.
Mine.
yeah, there's a whole literature on it if you look it up.
Can I?
The bigger question is how many people are going to be looking at everybody's hands from now on? That's
Yeah,
So
right.
include
Exactly. Right.
Can I make a
And
point that?
because of it, go ahead. No, I was going to say, because of its relationship with testosterone, the finger length is also related to things like what subject you do best on the SAT, things like that. The visual people are more likely to have the fingers the same length, and the ones who do better verbally, the pointer finger is shorter.
Amber.
So it's an interesting little quirk that you can read about.
We're so close. I'm at
Going back to the
27.99.
30%.
So
thing,
close.
You know, as a left-hander, I'm wondering, because the schools are pretty much wired, or they were when I was growing up, to cater to right-handed. Like, did they teach you how to write? You know, like the notebook, like I'm the one that has an ink stain on my hand conceptually because everything's made for right-handers. So if you're talking about, I mean, maybe someone should go back and check all the big guys like Bundy and Gacy and all of them in the 70s. How many of them are left? How many were supposed to be left-handed but were forced to be right-handed? Because when you're forcing somebody to do that, like my father, there's no excuse for what my father did, but there's got to be reasons. You know, so with me, like I had some learning disabilities early, like dyslexia and spelling, things like that. It's not so much your brain is wired like abnormally, it's just that we're 10% of the population. So 90% of the population is taught a certain way, and we're being taught to be like you guys, and we're not. Our brains are different. It's not abnormal.
Well, it's complicated because
Very nice.
about 10% of the population is lefty,
Cranky, you
but
are
about 70% of those.
being extremely generous this evening. Wow, that's very, very generous of you. We have a new channel member. I don't know why it's not allowing me to pull it up. That's interesting. My notification didn't show up, but we saw it in the chat. So Cranky gifted another channel membership out to Wallcat, is now a channel member. Wow, that's very, 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 very kind of you.
Are simply wired the same way as right-handers, but choose to use the left
Very
hand
kind.
for some reason. But that there is a tiny portion of people who are left-handed who do have aberrant brain configuration, and that's known to be associated not only with psychopathy, but you see that also in schizophrenia, and you see it in autism. So that there's some relationship, and it has to do with the fact that the right hemisphere is smaller than the left. And the left hemisphere develops.
All right,
first.
guys.
So most of us
Time to
are right
celebrate.
hand dominant, but when something is wrong with the left hemisphere in utero,
That's
some people think because of
2800.
testosterone.
Get to
We use the other
2800.
hand, and then there are problems with brain areas that we're
Let's update the
increasingly
board.
learning are related to violence and the ability to be empathic etc., because of the amygdala. The amygdala on the left side of the brain is necessary
all of your
for
hard work,
reading other
guys.
people's feelings.
I can't do
When the
this without
amygdala is
you.
too large, people can be excessively anxious and have too much empathy. When it's too small, they can lack it, like you see in autism or schizophrenia or psychopathy. And that's the left amygdala, right, which is going to be affected in some people. So this fascinating research is telling us that people that have one quality can sometimes look like the others. And it shouldn't be surprising that the core of psychopathy is a kind of deadness of empathy and a difficulty reading other people and a lack of fear, because it takes an amygdala to do that. Right. So that it's not surprising that these would be fearless, sensation-seeking, bored, guiltless people. But so anyway, it's an interesting thing to think about, because it doesn't take away from the culpability of a person, but it's interesting to think about aberrant brain connectivity in people that are psychopaths.
There's a lot of study on this.
I'm going to go to the
obviously
widescreen for a
taking
while
place,
here.
and I know even Bryan's professor was deep into
I hope
front
we can,
lobe
Kristen.
problems,
That'd be
right?
great.
I mean, front brain studies and a lot of
5,000
information is
by
going to come out. I'm sure at some point. But I have a question.
June would be
you know,
great. And then 10,000
as
by the end of
this
the year.
phenomena continues, i.e., he
But
starts
the
to
only way
gain more
that's going to
attention.
happen is when I do live streams and videos. If you guys can make it here for me and just interact on those videos, push those out, because the first order of business for YouTube is your subscribers and coming and hitting those videos and watching them. And I get it, you guys have things to do and stuff like that, but at some point, if I drop some video, come over and check out and watch through those, because that really helps.
Like BTK, Kerri, what was it like at home?
Cindy was
when
watching.
your
She didn't know it
dad
was live.
started to, see the news, and
oh man,
how was
here.
what was
Hello.
his behavior
See
there
you.
at home, and what do you think is going to happen, you guys, to Dennis or to Bryan and the circle of influence around him, i.e., these types of super fans, starting to chime in? So, Kerri, tell us. Give me a little insight into how your dad was responding, if you recall, post some of the Fox murders and, when all of that during that time frame when he was out and about.
Sorry, I got us off track with the left-handedness. We before we were talking about fans in prison with these guys, and you guys, Gary explained a lot of it, but I think what I've seen is some women sort of feel safe with my father. Like they'll write me and tell me he's a good guy, like he treats them well in letters and on phone calls. He's like respectful. I think some of it too is people wanting to get up close to the monster, but not actually be harmed by them. So just like, people engage in horror films and watch true crime and study this stuff and get really engaged in it. I think people, some people are contacting somebody like my father or Kohberger because they want to get up close to it, but they don't want to actually be harmed by it. One of my big issues with it is that if my father got out of prison, he would murder these women. Like he's fantasizing about them in really awful ways, I'm sure. Kohberger could be too. We don't know yet, what drives Kohberger. But these women are giving my father their address and talking to him on the phone. And, it's concerning to me that that goes on and has from the get-go. I mean, I'm seeing on social media now, like pictures of drawings of Kohberger, like where they're putting hearts on it and saying they love him. That's going around like social media. That's been, with my father very early on, he was getting fan mail. He still does. And what's happened with my father is that he still cyber stalks and controls people from inside prison. So even though he's in solitary, he uses these people, which I would call minions. And he builds relationships with them over letters and on the phone. And then he uses them to go stalk people like myself. So he uses, it's like, there's this question of like somebody like my father has ethical and legal rights as a human, but we're.
Who do you have an opinion on, Mandy Joe? Kerri? So the reason the connection is this, and I'll wait for Manny to chat that in there too. The reason the connection is this: BK studied at DeSales University under Catherine Ramslin, and Catherine Ramslin studied BTK killer. Actually, had an academic relationship with him, and also a friendship. And a lot of the time, these professors will gain trust through friendship to get information from them. So she actually ended up writing a book and studying him. And Kohberger in his criminology class had this specific professor. So he was very well connected to BTK, knew who he was. And Kerri actually thinks that Kohberger may have had some contact with her father. So that's why it's brought up so much. Mikey S says, congrats to all on the original OGs and Bryan for working hard. It's paying off. Nice job, bro. New member, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's see. Mandy, did you ask? So I'm curious about this. You said I have an opinion on her, and I don't know if it's a popular opinion. What were you talking about? You guys chat so quick. It's funny. It's so quick. I think BK's daughter is profiting off her father for being a serial killer. I don't know. I don't know if it's profiting. I think it's just more sense of telling a story and getting that story out there and informing people and advocating for people and giving them warning signs and letting them know that, if you sense any specific things like this, I'm going to be honest with you. And because you missed the beginning of the show, I actually, I reached out to Kerri. I didn't think that there was going to be any response because she's such high profile, but I'll pull the email back up for everybody since everybody's kind of new. They might have just been jumping in the chat, but I wrote her actually today, and I was trying to get her actually on the show, and like I said, I didn't know if she was going to respond or not, but I actually wrote here, and let me see if I can. I'm going to just shoot this wide open so you guys can see it. I'll read it really quick. I don't know. Let me see if you guys can see that. Probably not. Let me go smaller down here. So basically, I wrote her just kind of asking her, if she would be interested in coming on the show. I told her a little bit about my show. I would love to discuss the link between, the coincidence between her and her father, Kohberger and her father. She wrote me back. She was very kind. She said, thanks. I appreciate the offer, but I'm currently stepping back from media to finish up my second book. So I have to decline at this time. All the best. So, I got a decline, but it didn't necessarily say that she wouldn't be interested in coming back here. So maybe I'll hit her back up in, a couple of months. I'm sure she's feverishly working on her book. If you are watching the stream, Kerri, because you do have the link to the channel, I do appreciate you getting back to me, and you're always welcome here. So if you did want to come on the show and talk about your father or Kohberger in the relationship together, I would love to have you here as a guest. So no, I think it's just more in the sense of, informing, like, look, you have to think this affected her life. This is her father that's been a notorious known serial killer that did this over like a 20 something year span. So it's very impactful. And I'm sure that she's doing a lot of this and talking about it for therapy reasons too. Because what do you do? What do you do? My father killed all these people violently. So, listen, she has a story to tell. I think that you got to give her a little bit of a break here in that sense. And, it's tragic. Her name is always going to be connected to this person in her life. And the thing that's a very crazy struggle about it too, it's her dad. So this is a man that you have grown up with, you have loved all of your life. And then all of a sudden, with literally the flick of a switch overnight, it changes to this crazy relationship with your father now. He was a notorious serial killer. How do you deal with that? So, that's kind of my rant. I hope you guys get it. But Manny says, maybe it's just creeps me out how she calls him her father. I would claim that. I would claim that fool. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy and it's weird, and it's probably something that's very hard to, deal with on a personal level. I mean, I get you. I understand what you're saying. Hey everybody, thank you for checking out this video. If you like the content here today, make sure to click on one of these videos up here. I would appreciate it. And before you head out, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on that bell notification so every time I drop a new video or go live, you guys will know. Thanks.